grab your swords, your spells, and your dragons, because we're traveling to expel in search of the sorcery globe. This week, it's JRPG turned anime. You guessed it, we're covering Star Ocean EX. Welcome, anime fans and foodies, to Anime Bento. Each week, we review a different anime, and we give you some fun recipes to go along with it. Joining me this week is...
Jason.
Hey, Jason. Thank you for joining me this week.
Pleasure to be here, Jimmy.
This week, we have some fun treats for you to try out. For our food item, we have Ashton's Fruit Sando. This sweet sando contains whipped cream, strawberries, and blueberries to resemble the dragons that follow him around. For our cocktail, we have Celine's Starlight. This gin cocktail contains indigo gin, lavender simple syrup, limoncello, and some fresh lemon juice. And for our mocktail this week, we have Reina's Healing Potion with lemonade, strawberry puree, lime juice, and crushed mint. This will have you recharged and ready for your next battle. If you make any of these, we would love to see your pictures. Please tag us at Anime Bento. Now let's jump into the show. Star Ocean EX, we follow Claude, a young cadet from the Earth Foundation. While on a mission with his father, he accidentally activates a mysterious artifact that teleports him to a distant planet called Expel. He is mistaken for the Warrior of Light after saving Reina, and Expel is in danger due to a recent meteor crash known as the Sorcery Globe, which is causing devastating natural disasters and spawning monsters. Thinking that the Sorcerer Globe will be his way back home, he journeys to find it and unlock its secrets. Star Ocean EX aired April 2001, based on a PlayStation JRPG, Star Ocean, the second story, which was released in 1998. You can find this on Pluto TV, which I didn't know had anime, but if you're looking for like anime from the 2000s and 90s, and you don't mind commercials, Pluto TV is free, so I recommend it. It was kind of cool. Spoiler warnings. Spoilers lie beyond this point. Enter at your own risk. The following information may ruin the ending of season 1 for you. Okay, Jason, I know you've seen this a while back and you played the game. So, what are your first impressions about Star Ocean and like Star Ocean EX, the anime?
Yeah, so to give some context, I played Star Ocean EX, or excuse me, I played Star Ocean during its original run when it came out back in, I forget with the exact date that it came out, but it was the 90s, late 90s JRPG. I got into it, I want to say either in 1999 or 2000. I was in middle school. And then I learned about the anime after the fact. So it's kind of backwards because a lot of animes are, it's not unusual for an anime to exist and them to create a video game based on the IP. This is kind of the other way around, where they made the video game and then made an anime based on the video game. My first impressions, and I know it's a long way around it to say it, but my first impressions like are from the game because I played the game before I saw the anime, and the game was amazing. And because the game was amazing, I was looking at the anime through that lens, and I found the anime to be amazing and fun and a very faithful adaptation for the most part. They move things around, or maybe they change a little bit of the story in the anime from the game, but overall, it was a very faithful adaptation of the series.
Yeah, okay. If I didn't know. So you told me off the bat that this was based off a JRPG. So I knew going into it, it was based off a video game. As I was watching it, I was like, I don't know if I was influenced by what you told me or not, but it definitely felt like a role playing game. Like it definitely felt like that kind of game because they would go do something and then someone would join their team and then they would go do a mission. They would like, It felt like they were wandering into NPCs that were giving them missions to do and side things to do, which, in that sense, it gives you a different framing of the show. Because for me, and I think we're gonna dive into the story a little bit, but well, overall, I enjoyed this anime. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite or uh, I'm gonna rewatch it anytime soon. It definitely is worth the watch, and I definitely loved it, and I watched it even though I had to watch commercials. I still finished it because it was I there was some characters that I really loved in this anime. So there are definitely some really great characters, really funny go-to moments. Um, yeah, I think overall I really liked this anime. Have you ever seen the anime Muyo?
It's been a long time, but I believe I remember watching it on it was on Toonami, uh, way back when I was a kid. Have I
Yeah,
seen it recently? No.
it gave me Toonami vibes, which already drew me in. So I was gonna watch this and love it anyway because that's kind of what got me into animes. Staying up and watching Toonami at night. I was only able to watch like a couple of shows because it came on really late for me. So that's kind of what I my first impressions of it. Let's just dive into the story, and I'm just gonna kick it off with, and I'm just gonna skip to the end, or not telling you guys the end, but like one of the main problems I have with this is there is no ending. It ends on a very very major cliffhanger. They're about to go do something. It seems epic, and then it's just no more episodes. I was waiting for my TV to be like play next episode. Even though I knew how many there was, I guess I lost track because I'm watching them back to back. So I was like, okay, cool. They're gonna go through this door, and then it starts playing. I don't the anime Virtual Fighter. So I was like, wait, what happened? So my my main complaint is that there is no more of it. I need to know what happens. We need to complete the story.
Yep. Yeah, and to give context to people, if you're the age of Jimmy and I, and you played JRPGs in the '90s in the PlayStation 1 era, you probably remember Final Fantasy and a lot of those games had more than one disc because there was a lot of content. They would have 2, 3, sometimes even 4 discs. Star Ocean was one of those games. Star Ocean: The Second Story had 2 discs, 1 disc and another one. The anime Star Ocean EX or Star Ocean X ends where disc 1 ends. So in terms of the actual story that they are adapting, they have missed out on an entire half of it. So that's why it feels like it's a cliffhanger. And I'm right there with you. Like, even though I could just, at the time when I was watching it, I could have just picked up the game and played it and got the full story for me. When you're watching the anime, you're like, really? There's no conclusion? Like, yeah, they end with this, "Oh, we're gonna go through this door and the, um follow the villains to their turf and fight and, save the planet," or whatever, and then that's it. Like, nothing happens, so it's like, "Okay, did you win? Did they win? Did they lose? What happened?"
Yeah, just like okay, we'll just talk about the ending and then we can go backtrack. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. Everyone should have watched it by now. You're listening, or you haven't watched it and you want to know. But they defeat the what is it called? Now I can't remember it. Oh, the sorcery globe. They like fight it, defeat it. It's this giant eye. It's cool. Like all your characters are there. Like you got
Mhm.
your main crew, and then there's a secondary crews there too, and everyone's kicking butt. It's just so cool. Those secondary characters, once we get into them, they are my favorites. I am excited to play this game, so I hope I get to play more of them. So I'm excited about that. But then they defeat the monster, and then it's suddenly like time freezes, and then all this stuff happens, and then Claude is like, we have to fight them. We have to fight them on their home turf. We got to go to their world and fight them on their land. And everyone's like, we're ready. We're ready to do this. And he's like, okay, let's do this. And they kind of start approaching the door. They're right in front of the door, kind of similar of how he entered the world. And then credits, not even like they don't even open the door a little bit. That's so aggravating. I don't even know how to explain how I felt. And I just recently finished this, so it's very the wound is fresh. So I don't know. That's just my main complaint. Are there any like how else do you think like what else about the story and just like the pacing do you how do you feel about just the arc and all of that in general?
I like the arc. I'm right with you where again, I'm right there with you on it should have finished. Like they should have finished it and given us that closure. I don't know if they just ran out of money or nobody was interested or whatever. Overall, I did like the arc because, there's this story of, Claude is transported onto another planet, a planet that is underdeveloped that, as far as we know, isn't really on any star map or anything. So who knows if his father or if he'll ever be found. But it is a civilized planet. Like there's people on there, and a lot of the game and the anime is like, he's trying to figure out maybe there's a way I can find a way home. Like, hope's not lost. I'm gonna wander around. If I keep looking around the planet, I might figure something out. The sorcery globe that they're talking about might give me some kind of clue, and that's kind of his thing. Is they're just, that's kind of the arc of the entire story, or at least this anime is Claude trying to figure out his way home, and he's meeting friends along the way who all have their own stories or their own thing that they're trying to solve or whatever. And so he picks up friends along the way, just like you would in a JRPG. And he gets to the destination, and of course, just like a JRPG, you think you're done with the story, but and then again you realize, oh no, there's a bigger bad behind the scenes that you need to take care of and stuff. So I do think it did have a clear arc. And so there's this overarching story of, oh, we're trying to find or I'm trying to figure out a way to get back home. And then of course there's those mini arcs where he runs into people and they ask for help, or they join his team and he helps them out and stuff like that.
I do think like overall when you look back on the 26 episodes, it does have a clear like point A to point B. It just didn't have that door at the end, and it just if it ended with them defeating the eye, even if it wasn't a way for him to go back home, and it was just kind of like him, okay, this is my new life. This is where I live now. It's very sad that he'll never see his friends and family again, but I think I could have lived with that. I think I could have been like, okay, this is kind of the story. It's just that little tag at the end, which would have been great for a season two. I mean, that would have been this is a great cliffhanger for a second season. I would say there are some filler episodes in there. There's like an episode where they're on a ship. Was
Mhm,
like there's a ghost on the ship. There are some kind of little episodes where it is a little fillery, but again, if you think about this based off a JRPG, then you're like, oh, these are total like these are the quests I would have gone on anyway in the game.
mhm,
I I think if you're a person who plays JRPGs or just RPGs in general, I think a majority of us are completionists and we are doing every side mission and trying to get everybody to join our team and what items we need. Oh, there's this rare item, but it's going to take us an hour off task. Well, I'm going to do that. So,
mhm,
in that sense, I was like, oh yeah, these side quests or these side missions that kind of derail us from the main story, and there's honestly, there's very few. I could think of maybe only like 3 or 4 episodes where I was really like, "Oh, we really definitely got off track here." But in the sense of like, this is based off a video game, it made sense to me. And, uh, I don't think I've said it on the podcast yet, but I love a filler episode. Some of my favorite characters in anime are side characters and are not the main characters. To see a
mhm.
story about one of our side characters take the lead or a story revolving around one of these other characters is something I truly enjoy. So I didn't mind, I don't mind filler episodes in general, but in this sense, they made they made sense to me. It wasn't like, oh, we're just trying to get to that number to make the season feel well rounded. It just everything fit really well. And I wonder if that is because they really had a strong source material of like the video game and how that played out already for them.
You bring up a very good point, and I guess I didn't even really think about it when I was watching it initially, probably because I played the game first. If you were to go into this blind, not knowing it was a video game, it does have a video game feel. Like, it is very much, this is your quest. This, if anybody here who's played a JRPG, which that is easily my favorite genre of video game, if you play a JRPG, that is exactly how it goes. You go to the town, an NPC tells you, "Oh, there's something in this cave. Can you go and check it out?" And there's that. But then also you're just running into random people at a bar or something, and they're like, "Oh, I'm an adventurer, and I've got to do XYZ. I want to join your team," and stuff like that. So that all does happen in there, and it does, if it were a normal anime, maybe it would seem a little weird because a lot of animes don't follow that, and this is adapted from a JRPG. So they are trying to be faithful to the story, which I appreciate. They were trying to be faithful to the story. It might feel weird to somebody who's not used to that, but it is ultimately, I think, good.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I just want, I, I want to know, like, if you guys, the listeners out there who haven't played the game or watched this not knowing it was based off of a video game, I wonder how you guys took it. I do want to see if there are any more. I'm sure there's more anime based off video games out there.
Hmm.
There's got to be. I don't know if that was the objective of this anime. Like, if they made it to sell video games, like how I believe Yu-Gi-Oh was created to sell the card game. So I don't know if this anime was created to like make people move over to the video game. Not that there wasn't. That's because we had the cliffhanger thing, but I just wonder if like now this is supposed to help people like go to the video game part and just be all synergized.
Yeah, ultimately, I did like that flow though, and I think it worked. Now, I have no idea if they made this just to sell get more people to play the game. I don't know if it was a cash grab because, I imagine a lot of the fans of the game would have absolutely watched the anime. I think it probably could have been both ways. Get people interested in the game, but get gamers, something for them to spend their money on. Additionally, because once you bought the game, you bought the game. You're not going to buy another game. So it's like, okay, we'll give you something else you can spend money on. But then also for people who may have just, the anime lovers who might just stumble upon this watching Pluto TV or whatever. Granted, Pluto TV didn't exist back then, but or at least I don't think it did. But the people who just stumble upon it might be like, "Oh, this was pretty cool. What? It's based on a game? Let me go ahead and play the game."
Do you remember where you watched this?
I actually, so this was back in the Wild West days of YouTube. So it actually might have been like 2006, 2007 when I watched it. Back in the Wild West days of YouTube, YouTube did not really care much about copyright stuff the way they do now. And so they had the entire series of Star Ocean X on YouTube, all 26 episodes. So I watched it that way.
Well, let's dive into some of the characters. So we got really, I would say, only two main characters, and let's start off with our main guy, Claude. Claude is a kind of a space cadet. Okay, I have a question because is he a cadet? Like, is he just starting out, or is he like a technical kind of engineer person? Because it seemed like he had a specific job on the ship the first episode.
He is a cadet. He's supposed to be a cadet, a newly enrolled cadet in the show or in the Earth Federation. The creators of the game took a lot of story beats from Star Trek as a concept. So, there's this giant, federation of planets, and he is enrolled in it because he's a legacy. His father was the hero of the previous game, and now, he's the son, and so he's living in his father's shadow and trying to become a soldier as well, and this is his first mission.
Okay, okay. You saying that now? So you played s- the original Star Ocean, then?
Yeah, so Star Ocean 1 actually never released in America initially, but then they ported it years later.
Okay, because when I first watched this, I think I watched the first episode like 4 times. Because I picked it up and I watched 3 episodes and then I stopped for a little bit. And then I was like, wait, what happened? So I had to rewatch it over and over again. And I was very confused that they spent, it's not a lot of time, but it is a good chunk of the first episode about his father and like his father's leading, like His father is a general, or he commands a ship. He's a commander of some sort. Everyone looks up to him. He's in charge of everything. There's a whole little short flashback scene of him being the youngest person to achieve this rank and his kind of victory stuff. And
Mhm.
it definitely shows like he's a hot shot. There was this little friction between it because in the very first episode, they kind of crash land on this planet. And then there's a mysterious item, and Claude goes to investigate it, even when his dad says don't. And then he ends up getting transported to Expel. And I was like, wow, we have so much dad stuff and so much backstory for dad and so much of like their relationship together. This is like a push and pull kind of thing. He's working on his ship now. To not have any more dad really for the rest of the show. Maybe like here and there we get a little dad, but like for the most part, dad is not a part of any of this.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think some of it goes to the people who have played the games before, who know that, Ronixus, who's his father, was the main character or one of the main characters in the first game, and, he saved the galaxy and all that stuff. So now he was a young guy then. Now he's an older man with a child who is, 17, I believe, either 18 or something like that. And so now, they're trying to establish that to show that Claude is kind of living in his shadow and trying to be his own person.
Claude is our classic main character. He doubts himself and then he overcomes some trials and then he gains power.
Hmm.
And I jumped into the show Claude and I was like, our gun's gonna solve all the problems in this anime. And I really did think guns was gonna be the answer, but he does a lot with swords. So um I don't know. How do you feel? Like, what are your thoughts about him?
I liked him as a character when I originally played it. It was a, you know, it's very like there's nothing new here. It's a standard, isekai type, anime where somebody gets spirited away to another planet and stuff. Like there's nothing new. There's no new ground being broken there. But as a character, I liked him because I did like that whole hero's journey where, he's this young a young person who's just joining the military. He's on his first mission. He screws up and gets teleported away, trying to find a way home. And then, he becomes kind of a hero by helping other people. And there's a lot of growth in the game where he's like, he's not a swordsman by any stretch of the imagination, but he is on this planet that is underdeveloped that, they're kind of living in our equivalent of medieval times. So he has to get good with a sword and stuff like that, and we definitely see him grow as a person, so I like him as a character.
Overall, he's a good character for me. There's another guy that I really love in this show, way more, but overall, Claude fulfills his need of main character helping the team, and
Mhm.
then them helping him grow to be a better person. Overall, I think good character, good guy.
Mhm.
Definitely would love to. I think if he was my friend, I'd be like, cool. You know,
Yep.
he's not horrible, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then I think that brings us to our next character, Reina, which I don't know. Okay, what do you think about Reina? I want to hear your thoughts first.
I think she's a well-written character. She is not she starts out kinda damsel in distressy type character, stereotypical love interest of the main character, but getting kidnapped, blah, blah, blah. But, I like how they get rid of that or they finish that part of the story pretty quickly, and then now she's becomes a strong character on her own. Uh, yeah, I mean, I like her. I've always liked Reina as a character. I always play her whenever I play at the game. She's really, I liked her development and her growth on the show. The only complaint I might have, the only complaint I might have is, as I mentioned, she does really start out as kind of the damsel in distress.
I really like Reina a lot. I want more from her, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because this was written in 2000 and not in the 2020s where we're at right now. She's got really strong like, her powers she has healing powers, basically, and she seems very, like, she can take care of herself kinda girl or kinda woman. I mean, like, she's yeah, like, when we first meet her, she is in trouble in the both beginning 2 episodes that we kinda introduced to her. She's been I don't know if she's been kidnapped, but she's been taken to being married against her will, and then in the when we first meet her, she's being attacked by a bear creature that we don't even know she has powers in those 2 scenes, and she is saved by Claude both times, and we find out that she does have this healing power, and it just feels like which I was very confused about too, that she's saved by Claude, and then she's like, "Oh, you're the, like, what is it called?
Warrior of Light.
The Warrior of Light." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Why is he the Warrior of Light when you have magical powers as well?" Maybe you're the warrior, like, you could be the warrior of light as well. Because when we find out that she has powers, it also is like, hey, keep this on the down low. We don't want people knowing that she has powers. And then we find out that she was just kind of found as a baby and she doesn't even know where she's from. And she's wondering, like, am I from another planet as well, like you, Claude? And I really kind of love her journey. I do wish my only complaint would be like, I know we want the romantic aspect of it with her and Claude, but I do kinda wish she was kinda had her own thing going on, and I wish it wasn't so connected to him. I kinda just wish she was, like she could stand up for herself. I would've really loved a f like, 2 or 3 episodes of her going out on her own more,
Yeah.
and her leading I would've honestly, I would've really loved if she led the group herself. I know there's an episode where they get split up, but my other part of that episode is, like, a lot of the time she's like, "I hope Claude's okay," or is he doing well? Or I wonder if he's like,
Yeah.
will we see each other again? When I'm like, you're such a strong character on your own. I wish we could just like, I want to see you fight more. I like this character a lot. So my criticism of her is just that I want more of her and I want her to be more center stage. I wouldn't have mind if this story shifted to like her being the main character and him being kind of like the secondary character.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Those are just like that's how I felt about her.
Yeah, and fun fact, in the game, they are the main characters, so you could choose if to play you start a new game, you could choose if you wanna play as Reina or as Claude, and so you play the story from either one's perspective, and so, yeah, but it does. I don't feel like it translated as well into the anime. It does feel like Claude is largely the I mean, they do seem like co-leads, but Claude is a little bit more of a lead.
If the story wasn't kind of like this secret love that she has for him or like kind of this thing she's holding on to, if we didn't have that, I mean, like, yeah, they could fall in love. But if it wasn't all about that, I feel like she would be a stronger co lead. But I think she's a strong enough character that she doesn't need that. I don't need that crutch of like the love story for her. I don't know. Wait, so you can pick either one. Does the other one join your party or are you like missing the other
Yeah.
person?
No, they join the other one joins your party.
Okay, cool.
It just
Interesting.
shifts the perspective of the game, from either Claude's perspective or from Reina's perspective,
Mm.
but the
Oh
story
man.
is largely the same.
Sounds like a double playthrough kind of game.
Yeah.
Cool. I picked out 4 characters that I think are kinda like the supporting cast. The first person I wanna talk about is Celine, which I okay, I really didn't like her in the beginning, and then at the end, again, I was like, "Man, this is like another powerful person who, like, doesn't need the group," if that makes sense. She really came into her own at the end, and I don't know, she's I feel she's stronger than Claude and Reina at the end. But okay, what were your thoughts about Celine?
She's a very powerful magician. I like having her in the show because she does kind of help explain. She helps expand the world a little bit in the world of magic and the role of magic in the game or in the anime rather. But But, I don't wanna say she's unnecessary, that's not fair. Uh, I think she's fine. I like her as a character overall. She's when I actually looking back at the game and whatnot, I never really play as her all that much, but in the anime, I liked her part in the story, but I feel like about halfway through the anime, she's not really needed anymore, but, that's just my take.
I do think she gives some good visual fight scenes. Like her power
Yeah,
is very visually good because we get everyone else is very much swords and fighting. And she kind of brings this other like I don't know how to describe it, but like more artsy flair. It's more visual. Magic is more visually appealing on screen than
yeah,
kind of just sword slashing. So it's great. At points, it does feel like she is just there to try to make that really fun love triangle thing. Like
mhm,
be the other person. I kind of see your point though. Like, if she was not there, would the story have continued on as normal? Probably. I don't think we needed her. I liked her. I thought she was funny. She has some very funny moments, and she's definitely a comic relief character. A lot of the supporting cast are comic relief, so she's great in that aspect. But yeah, at the end of the day, if she wasn't there, the story would have just moved on fine without her. She wasn't giving a lot in story wise. She was giving a lot in magic power wise. I do like at the very last episode when she casts that spell. I think that's pretty
yeah.
cool. I think my one of my favorite parts is kind of the end of her beginning story arc where we first meet her and her journey is she finds a tablet and she can't read the tablet. She's like, I don't know what to do with this. And Claude and Raina are like, okay, well, bye. We're gonna leave now. And she's basically like, hey, I'm coming along with you because I couldn't figure this out. So you guys kind of owe me still for helping you or whatever they did. But she figures out a reason to tag along with them. And I just love the like little end line of that episode where Rain is like, Celine, just go home. I don't know if there's other magic users in the game, but if there were other
Mhm.
magic users, she's probably maybe I would drop her.
And that's honestly what most people do, and I think that's kind of why she's doesn't seem to be as useful in the second half of the season, is because even in the game, like, once you start getting further in the game, most people just forget that Celine is even on your team and just start playing as other people.
The next character we have, and I'm gonna say just starting off, and I don't want to oversell this character, but he is my favorite in this show.
Mhm.
I want merch of this. I wonder if they make a plushie. I need to find stuff. And that character is Ashton.
I love him as a character in the game. I love him as a character in the anime. He's somewhat of a whiny mercenary warrior type, and he gets possessed by dragons. And, initially he is like, "Oh, I don't like this," which would be which would be a pretty normal, response to that when you have these 2 dragons coming out of your back. But then he tries to he builds this weird bond with the dragons over time, and now he and then, it's just fun seeing, like, I wouldn't even say call it a love triangle, but there's just kinda like this triad going on between him and the dragons throughout the whole show, which is always fun. And he's just a fun character to be around whenever he's just kind of whining, or one time when he acts, he doesn't want to kill that one monster, but then he accidentally does. And yeah, I've always loved him as a character.
I'm gonna gush all over him. My favorite character. I love the dragons. I think so. He's cursed with two dragons with him, and basically they're fused to his body, and they kind of come out as I don't know how to explain this, but think of a dragon with three heads, and there's two on the side, and his head is the middle one. So their
Yeah.
necks come out, and it's two, and they're visually cool dragons. He's introduced, and we find like he's cursed, and they're talking. He says what his plan is to get rid of the curse of the two dragon heads that he has, and they kind of are like, okay, well, bye. And I was like, he better be joining. He better be joining our team. He better be coming along with us on this journey. Fortunately, he does. He's, like I said, great comic relief. Those two dragons are amazing. I don't think I've ever seen this kind of fusion of dragon and person, or someone who controls dragons or someone who turns into a dragon. This is how it's visualized. And seeing this, I was like, "Oh, I've been missing out." And this is one of my favorite moments, but we come to a point where he needs the king's teardrop to remove the curse. Then he finds out if he removes the dragons from himself, basically the dragons do die. And that's very it's a very tough decision for him to make because yes, he wants to go back to having his own life and living the way he wants, and kind of just free of this. But he's also formed this bond with these two dragons that he has. And they really become a part of him and a part of his family in a way. And ultimately, he decides not to do it and that to keep them with him. And I just think that that was such a great little small story for him, the little small story arc for him.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, so our next character, and I'm probably gonna say this name wrong. Was it Precis?
Yeah.
Precis? So, what are your opinions about her?
She is the fun kid character who's also kind of a genius engineer. Like, that is her trope. She can be very annoying at times, but I do like the energy she brings to the team. Uh, again, she's an inventor. I mean, that's what it boils down to. She fights with these various robots and whatnot. It's actually kind of funny because in the game, if you look at her artwork in the original release anyway, she's actually controlling all of her robots with a PlayStation controller.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, she's very she fights with a robot, I believe called Bobot or whatever, and it's just very funny to watch her. The only downside is she does fill that annoying kid character trope.
Yeah, I could see that. I again, this is a kind of another character who had, oh man, I want to say 2 or 3 episodes dedicated to her joining the group. When she joins the group, I do think it was an important time for her to join. I do think that she gave the team a burst of energy that they needed.
Yeah,
Everyone else is kind of fulfilling, like, I don't know. I would say like it's a lot of adults. It's kind of like we're going through the routine at one point, and then she comes in and she kind of brings this like a little more chaotic energy to the thing.
mhm,
She's not a part of the love triangle. Claude, Reina, and Celine kind of like, not that Celine is part of it. I think Celine likes to tease more than she's actually falling for Claude or anything like that. But I do love that Princess has this crush on Claude as kind of like this secret motivation kind of thing for her. And it is good. I enjoy her. Definitely her gadgets and things like that are definitely great boosts to the team. So again, I really do think like the characters that got 2 to 3 episodes dedicated to them are ones that I enjoy more on the team than, I don't want to keep harping back, but like I do think every character needed like 2 to 3 episodes dedicated to them, especially if
yeah,
you're a 26 episode season.
fair enough.
Okay, so the last person I have on my list for supporting characters is Dias.
I I've always kind of liked him. I liked him as a character because I thought he was a good foil for Claude. He is definitely a more competent swords person. Uh, so that's a opposite between him and Claude. He's a very skilled swordsman, whereas Claude is a very novice person. But unlike Claude, he is very callous, cold, due to his own trauma and stuff, whereas Claude is very warm, very nice person. So I do like that they're kind of two sides of the same story, and they both have kind of a tie-in with Reina as well, which is interesting too.
I wish we would have had him from the beginning. From when he first got introduced, he first comes in and basically he tells Claude that you can't even protect Arena. Why did you bring her along? Why did you trick her to come with you? In a sense that you can't defend her, you have no skills. And then he challenges Claude to a swords fight, which he wins easily, defeating Claude and kind of just proving his point that Claude cannot, at this moment in time, defend Reyna from the dangers of what is to like go find the sorcery globe. And okay, at this point, I'm just like, why don't you join the group? We'll get more story with him because I do think that's kind of what Claude needed in a sense, the opposite of him, or someone who same skill set, more advanced, but has a different tone to him. Like you were saying, he's more close off and whatnot, and could be a mentor to Claude to help him grow more through his journey. And that, I think that would have helped both characters out and made it really rounded out the team
Yep.
for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Diaz's thing is he has no real interest in this what Claude's up to, the sorcery globe and all that stuff. You know, he's just kind of a one of the like kind of the wandering samurai trope or whatever, the wandering warrior trope. And he does see Reina as kind of a little sister, so it's not really a romantic thing, more just of a
Mm.
protective thing. He does not see Claude as an equal at all. And yeah, so he does kind of look down on him and think like, "Oh, Reina, you're traveling with this guy and there's no way he's going to be able to protect you. He's too weak."
To me, he screams mentor character. The closed off, skilled swordsman screams like mentor to this young
Yeah.
hotshot guy who just came into this world. So I really wish we had more of him. He kind of just after the fight, Claude proves himself by defeating a snake monster. And he's like, okay, Claude, you've proven yourself this time, but I still don't think you're good enough to defend Reina.
Yeah.
It's kind of the opposite, like, of other characters where I'm like, we didn't get enough of him. And I think there's more to be he has more to be given. And I understand, like, we have a lot of swords people already on the roster. So
Mhm.
it is what it is. But are there any other characters you think are worth mentioning?
Those are probably the only main ones. There are other people in the game, but I think these are the only ones that are really well fleshed out. I mean, there's Bowman, there's I believe Bruce Opera and or Ernest shows up briefly. Leon is there as well, but they play really minor roles. But you know, those are characters that do appear in the game as well as playable characters. So you know, they're interesting. But in the context of the anime, they are almost tertiary characters, really.
Some themes that I think this anime has it. I think overall, this is like a coming of age story or a story about like doubting yourself and then finding who you are. Kind of the typical hero's journey of a thing that we see in Claude. We definitely see in the beginning, he doesn't speak his mind. And no, I can't blame him though. He's on his dad's ship. He's kind of lower rank. Like, is he going to question the captain of the ship in front of everyone? You know, it's kind of that. But even at even saying that, his dad did ask him later, kind of one on one. There was no other people around, but kind of just asking, like, "Did you think I made the wrong call by what I did on the ship before?" And you could see Claude was still like hesitant to speak his mind, really.
Yeah, I agree 100%. A lot of it is coming of age and him kind of dealing with his self-doubt because he is, you know, as I mentioned earlier, he is brand new to all of this. He just joined the Earth Federation and, you know, he probably when I came out of whatever their version of boot camp is and has a rough idea of what he's supposed to do. And all of a sudden he's thrown into a situation that he has no idea how to handle with no support, you know, no formal support from what he knows. I mean, he's thrown onto a underdeveloped planet with that nobody knows about that he's never been to, and he knows nobody there, and he has to figure out how to survive.
Yeah, and I really do think like him going from the person who was so timid about, as we see in the first episode, even shooting that bear to save someone. We see a lot of him hesitating in the very beginning episodes, and then at the
Mhm.
end, we see that he's become a full-fledged fighter. And just go to the very end, he's like, "Okay, it's time for us to take the fight to them. We need to
Yep.
be more proactive," which is a total flip of who he was when he first started. And I think that is a he's kind of found himself, and he's like, "Maybe I am this warrior to be," kind of thing. He doesn't really say that per se, but you know, we see a total difference. He is someone who can take charge, and we've seen him lead this group. So it is a very different thing, and I do think it's like it is very your typical hero story. So I did enjoy that. I think another like theme I took away from this show was also kind of just like I don't want to say like friendship. in general, but like I guess letting your community help you become a better person or finding who you
Mhm.
are by allowing people to help you in a sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But every character here that we meet, even Claude and Reina, are basically characters that who started off on their own in this journey. Claude gets teleported to this planet and he's by himself. He doesn't know anything. We find out Reina was just found as a child. So she doesn't know where she's from or what her original story is. There's Celine, who's kind of on her own. Ashton, who is just on his own as well. Like all these characters who are loner types who are just kind of just by themselves, trying to figure out who they are. And then through them coming together as a team and a group and going on this journey together, they discover like their character and like not where they fit into the group necessarily, but where they fit in life and kind of just who they are, what decisions they can make, what kind of person they truly are becoming, you know,
Mhm.
if all that makes sense.
No, I agree. It is about relying on friends because they become friends. They're kind of reluctant travel buddies at the beginning. They become genuine friends towards the end. And their friendship, learning how to rely on each other, learning how to trust each other is ultimately what wins the day.
So I think I've said a lot of my favorite. There's not necessarily a lot of favorite moments for me in this show that are like standout moments. There's a lot of like little funny scenes here and there sprinkled out throughout the season that I really enjoyed. Like, I think there's an episode where Celine's hands turn into ice,
Mhm.
and she does like I what was it? Was she mind controlled or she like there was kind of some swap or something where they had to incapacitate her and they
Yeah.
froze her hand so she couldn't cast spells. And she comes out of it and she's like, "Why are my hands frozen?" She's yelling at Ashton. And it's just those little kind of comedic moments that I really enjoyed overall. I think my favorite moment is kind of when Ashton decides not to get rid of the dragons. I really,
Mhm.
because again, like he's my favorite character. I love that guy. So of course, my one of my favorite moments is gonna be with him in it. Do you have any other standout moments?
Pretty much exactly those. So the two, I do think that it was a pretty faithful adaptation of the video game. So that in and of itself is a standout moment for me. The two things that I think that they got really right that I really liked was the antagonistic relationship between Claude and Diaz, but then also how in their sword fight and how their swords resonate with each other, they kind of come to a mutual understanding or a mutual appreciation of each other. It also shows how Claude has grown from being kind of a novice to being an experienced person. Then ultimately also Ashton's relationship with the dragons, how he goes from seeing them as being a nuisance or something to get rid of to where he actually likes them and wants them to live and stay with him.
Well, like every episode, we kind of rate our the season, or in this case, the series, on a scale that we have. So if you want to check out that scale, go check out any of our socials that we posted on there. So Jason, according to our scale, what do you give the show?
I am going to say that it is satisfying. Uh, and this is also coming from somebody who this was one of my favorite video games ever, and I think it's a faithful adaptation. I don't think that it holds up well. It's definitely got that feeling. I mean, every anime, I think there's an art style that exists from decade to decade. It definitely feels like locked in early 2000s, late 90s development, and also it's not breaking any ground as a story, so to speak, so that's why it's hard for me to give it anything higher, but I do think it's a decent enough anime, and I also acknowledge that because it's one of my favorite games, that's kind of causing me to maybe give it a little bit of a bump, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it's satisfying.
All right, for me, I'm gonna say for me it's just a snack. I did enjoy it. It it gives me that vibe of watching anime for the first time, because that's the style that I grew up on. That kind of late '90s, early 2000s anime style. I really loved it. Again, it brings me back to watching Toonami. The story's okay. It's kind of just your classic hero story, and it's fine. I really enjoyed a lot of parts of it. I think overall, oh man, I really can't get over that ending. I don't know if like once I play the game and go back, maybe I'll play the game and then go back and watch the show and see if that makes me change my mind about the ending and just like be like, okay, well, if you take this as a jumping off point to like dive into the game, maybe that's changes it for you a little bit. I think just as a show on itself, I don't know if I would revisit it. I did watch it subbed. The only so you can watch on Pluto TV. It is subbed though. So if that's something that hinders you, I would say subbed anime is really good. There's just some
Yeah.
anime that you're not gonna find dubbed, and like anime is good. Like there's so many stories you're missing out. If you're a dubbed only person, no hates, but there is so much good anime that's subbed only that you're really missing out on. So I hope you take the time and watch different shows. That being said, I will. I feel like if I could find this dubbed, then I would maybe this would be something I would put out the background. Like if I wanted to have something on while I'm doing something, or I put anime on while I'm working. It kind of helps me focus a little bit. This would be a great show to put on. The characters are funny. I enjoyed it, but for me, it's just snack. Except Ashton. Ashton is satisfying. I love that character so much. That's the show may be kind of just a mid show for me, but that character, I might even say chef's kiss. He's such a great character. I wish I want fan art of it. I want to go to my next anime convention and I want to find art of Ashton. I don't know if there's someone doing it. If you know anyone who's doing art of Ashton from Star Ocean, please let me know. I want a print to hang up in my office. Well, okay, those are just our opinions, but we love to hear what y'all thoughts are about the series. So please leave a comment telling us your favorite moments, your favorite characters. If you played the game, what do you think? Just all that fun stuff. You can find us on most socials, hopefully all socials by now, at Anime Bento Pod. That's all for this week. Until next time, stay legendary.
See you at the guild.
Bye.
Bye.
Open the box, what will it be? A world of wonders, just wait and see. Big eyes, big dreams in every scene. It's anime bento, it's your routine. Laugh, cry, shout, let it all flow. Heroes, villains, battles will grow. Grab your chopsticks, here we go. Anime bento steals the show. Slice of life or action pack, romance twists or demons attack. Every flavor, every track. Anime bento keeps you coming back. Tune in now, don't be slow. It's anime bento. Let's start the show.